everybody. I am back. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, it is Aaron Johnson of AaronJohnsonART, and today I am making a video about how I approach doing sequential art, aka comic pages. And this page I was hired to do by an awesome client named Emil on DeviantArt, and this is his story. It's a 2-page story about these 2 explorers in Burma, and they're like kind of like Indiana Jones type of thing. But yeah, so this is me drawing and coloring it, and the way I go about the process is basically, when you're a new client working with me, I try to go get an idea of what you want and the visual style of it, and different details about the story. Usually you send me a script, and based on that script we can make some layouts of what goes into the scene, the characters. For example, for this story, he sent me references of the people he'd want me to draw the characters to look like, but we needed actual designs too, so I drew them on a separate page first, went back and forth, didn't like the version I sent him originally, so I made the whole design over again, and he loved it then, and that's the version that went into these pages. So you send me the layout first, and we discuss different art styles, any references you may have, and then if there's any designing elements that we need to get out the way, I do those. And usually I don't charge for designs because I figure it's all a part of the overall price anyway. And without that, what are we drawing? So I've charged in the past, but very, very rarely will I ever charge for the design stage. Once that's set up, I go into these pages, I draw them on a 11 by 17 inch Bristol board, scan the line art in with a Mustech scanner, 300 DPI resolution scanner. You can set your resolution higher, of course. The higher it is, the better, but once you go past a certain point, there's almost no real benefit to doing that. So the safe number is at least 300. I wouldn't go lower than 300. More than that doesn't make a huge difference, other than it just gives you a bigger file size. But after I'm done scanning it, I go into Photoshop, and using the levels, hue, and saturation sliders, I can adjust the level of detail and clean up some of the elements of the picture that didn't get cleaned with the eraser or whatever like that. Next, we're ready to have fun. So I start putting flat colors. And normally when people put flat colors, they put a whole bunch of random colors, or they have this whole scheme based in their mind, like background elements or purple foreground elements, or red and all that. But I don't like to make it that complicated. I like to take the colors I'm actually going to use and use those on the flats. And again, I don't try to be clean about it. I just put the stuff everywhere. Like, as you can see, I'm just coloring wherever the lines, wherever I want to color. I, of course, make separate layers and organize the things that, you know, need to be organized into folders. I'm using Paint Tool Sci, by the way, in case some of you might not know what this program is. It's a Japanese program similar to Photoshop, but I like it way better than Photoshop. Even though it doesn't have as many features, it has a way better, like, brush. It's way faster. It's lighter on your computer. Not that I have that problem anymore, but yeah. And I just use this and make the flats. I do pretty much almost all the coloring in Paint Tool Sci. Almost all my digital art is done entirely in Sci, almost all of it. I pretty much only use Photoshop to do like adjustment layers and special effects, you know, that I can't do in Sci. Like, for example, this one big thing that Sci doesn't have that it really should is that it doesn't have gradients, and it doesn't have the ability to save selections. So stuff like that I have to do in Photoshop. And I've mentioned before in other videos that there is no resampling engine. So you can't resample things without losing quality here. So that's a big thing. You have to do that in Photoshop, unless you don't care about whatever you're resizing at that point. But yeah, once that's set up, I just keep adding the flats, making sure I've got a pretty good idea in my mind at this point where everything goes, but I'm always improvising, so I'm not stuck on one thing. Like, throughout the whole process, if I see something that I like that looks better, or if the client sees something that they like more than what's already there, we're always changing it. And I always want to make sure that satisfying my clients is just the most important part of the whole process. So it doesn't matter if the picture's already final to me and they say go back and do something else, I do it. 9 times out of 10, if it's reasonable, I do it. And for Emil, the client who asked for these pages, he was so like cooperative with everything. Like, he gave me total reign on what to do. And that's always great for clients. And I don't even mind sometimes getting clients that do have a certain image in their mind and they want us to stick to it and be very strict. I like that too, because it takes a lot of the pressure off me having to always do stuff off the top of my head. Sometimes you want to, you know, an easy job where everything's laid out and you just follow it by the rules. So there's not much info he gave me about these characters other than the redhead in the story, his name is Andrea, and the brunette in the story, his name is Rachel. And Andrea's white, obviously, and Rachel is some Latin American. We didn't know, I don't think he told me an exact place in Latin America, but that's the heritage there. And in this story, they're in Burma, but I had to kind of make up a, you know, like a temple based on some of the references he gave me and kind of do my own thing. Also, I took a lot of influence from Skyrim and you know, Tomb Raider and stuff like that to make up some of the details for this scene. And would you believe it or not, I actually thought of Jackie Chan Adventures. Like, don't know how old some of you are, but Jackie Chan at one point had a cartoon, guys, and it was epic. So one of my favorite things about the show was every time he would go there to a different temple or something to get some key item or talisman, there'd always be these temples with, like, you know, magic guards and you know, stone warriors and trapdoors and stuff like that. And then he would have to fight his way through whatever obstacle and then beat the bad guys to whatever, you know, talisman they were trying to get. Awesome show. But I took some of the ideas from that, and the mask, the giant mask in the background, it was inspired by Maori, you know, tribal tattoos. Some of those tiki statues that they have over there in, like, Hawaii and stuff. So those were a big influence on that. I went through a bunch of designs, like 3 or 4 designs, and some of them were more Nordic. This one was more, you know, Polynesian. One was more Nordic. The other one was more like Japanese. It had like a demon, like an Oni type of thing to it. And it was cool that we went with this one because this one's actually my favorite. And then I kind of blended that in with some kind of, I don't know, not fox, but like fake kind of Catholic-y type of sculptures, like, you know, the female sculptures over there with the robes behind in the walls. That was, I don't know how I thought of that, but I just figured that would be cool to throw in there. And then for the wall behind, there's a door, and that trap door is where they're having a big issue with. But the door's design was based off of those little puzzles in Skyrim. You know how you have to stay there for like months and you have to Google how to get past the door because they have the little claw key thing. And so this is that kind of door, and it shoots up, you know, right as they're trying to figure out what to do, and they have to figure out how to get out. If they get out or not, I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think they might. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I'm definitely going to be illustrating if they do get out, and if they don't get out, I'll be illustrating that too. So, yeah. At this point, in the colors, I'm kind of tightening things up because I'm making a lot of big changes based on like the selection, so I have to clean up. Even as I'm coloring, I have to clean up some of the colors I'm making, just to make sure that the colors don't go out the edges too much by this point. A big tip that helps me is something I noticed over the years as you color, is if you want to make something look really shiny or vibrant, the best way to do that isn't just with contrasting elements. You don't want to just contrast colors. You actually want to reduce saturation, because it's tempting, like when you want to make something really bright and shiny, you want to saturate it more, but oversaturating a lot of times tends to look really amateurish, and you'll be surprised how desaturated a lot of colors are in modern comics these days. Like back in the 90s when the colors were brand new, Photoshop was brand new, everything was oversaturated. They're just random little details, and you're gonna have to do stuff like that like every time, unless, you know, I don't know, but I always have to do it all the time, so no big deal. I do it, making adjustments to make sure it looks as natural as possible. Like I still drew it on paper, and after that I basically go in with with Photoshop, and because this color style that he wanted is supposed to look like this, it's supposed to look CG, painted kind of thing. I had to do a lot of layers of like shading mainly. There's a lot of layers of shading. Not so much light layers, but shading layers. And they're almost both the same in a sense. Light and shade, if you do it in layers like that, because instead of coloring something lighter, you just make the absence of the light give you the same effect. So your base color becomes the light, if that makes sense. It's a kind of a advanced trick, but you'll understand it if you try it. It's pretty simple in a way though, but that's pretty much it. There's a lot more to this, but unfortunately I did not record all of it. I just forgot. So that's basically it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm going to make a lot more videos about pages, because I always do videos about pinups and, like, you know, stuff like that, but a lot of people lately are hiring me for like comics pages and covers and stuff like that, so it gives me a little bit more variety for the videos. Check out these pages on I think my DeviantArt page. I think Emil will put it on his as well. My DeviantArt page is AJ the 90s kid.deviantart.com, and the same name on pretty much every other social media. Tumblr is the same name, Instagram the same name, Snapchat the same name, Skype the same name. And subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Comment, share, let me know what you guys think. And also follow my other channel, Godson Official Music. The music in this video was made by me, and there's a lot more on the music channel that I have there if you like that kind of thing. So until next time, peace.